Hi everyone, I'm Sam Bluston. Thank you for joining me for this OBS tutorial on how to stream using different overlays in your Zoom. So we can make things like this, or we can brand our Zoom videos, we can put page numbers across the bottom of the screen, or even actually text. If there's small amounts of text, we can put up screenshots of pages from a Siddur or a prayer book of any kind. And without further ado, you're going to need OBS, so we're going to show you how to do that in 1 second. Here you can see the software that I'm using. It's called OBS. It's a streaming software. You come to obsproject.com/download, and you can choose whichever operating system you are working on at the moment. Download it, go through the recommended steps to optimize your computer. And once you've done that, you'll come to basically a blank screen that looks like this. So what's on the page? This here is the preview panel. So this is what you would see as you're building something. We'll come down here to studio mode and show you now we have the preview mode and we have the program. So this is what would be live at any given moment. Down here we have scenes, which are basically you can create a scene with many different sources. So the sources will be your different overlays. You'll have video, you could have audio, you'll have different images at different times, and they'll all go here, and you can have multiple scenes. So what I usually do is I'll have one scene for each prayer, and we'll have those down the side. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. In the middle here is about transitions. I usually just like a fade from what's going on in the preview pane to the program pane. It's not too difficult that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by just a basic scene. So I'm going to come down here to the sources. We have the first scene. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to go to rename. We're going to rename this logo and me because we want our logo on here. What you can see here is we have nothing. We're going to add first our video. So I'm going to go here to video capture device. Video capture device, you can create whatever you want. So that's, let's say, my video. All of the names in OBS are global, which means that you can only name things once. You can't have an Ashrei here and an Ashrei there. You'd have to have Ashrei video or Ashrei text or Ashrei image, whatever you would want. Everything has to be separately named in here, or else it'll end up overwriting what you've done before. So we're gonna have my video. It's going to come up here. I don't want snap camera. I want easy camera, which is my webcam. And we can start to see that I have here. But you can see that this is only partially covering the screen. We hit OK. We've got the video. We're just going to go to the corner, make it bigger. Now it's got the full screen. If I were to double click on this, I'll show you how to set that up in a minute. Double click on that. You'll see now this would be what's live on the screen. What I want, though, is I want a logo over somewhere maybe in the corner so that people know that I belong to this synagogue or this organization. And what I'll do is I'll bring it in. I go to here, I'll go to image. We'll say logo. I'll go to browse. And what we can do is we can find my logo, which I have saved here. This is from my website. We'll hit OK. So you can see it comes up here. It's not great because it takes up a lot of space, and it's not actually see-through. I want all the white areas to be see-through. So what I could do first is I could hold down Alt, and what it'll allow me to do is crop my picture in real time. So I can make it super small, and I can go up to the other corner, and Alt, and I can cut it down. And then letting go of Alt, I can just resize by pulling on the corner and put it, that's a little big. Now, it doesn't look terrible, but I want this to be see-through because it takes up too much of the screen. So I can click on it, and I can go down to logo, and I'll go to filters. What I want is a transparent background. So I'm going to hit plus, I'm going to go to color key, which will allow me to get rid of all of the white and make it see-through. White doesn't come up here as a color, so I'm going to go to custom color, and we can select white. So there are different ways to do this. You can pick a color in here. There are custom colors down here. Or you can pick a screen color, which is helpful if you don't actually know what the color that you're trying to get rid of is. So I'm going to do that, and I'll come up here. I'll click on the white background, and you'll see that turned white. We'll hit OK. Now, you can see that most of it's disappeared. You can see over here that it's kind of see-through now. It doesn't look terrific, though. So I'll play around with some of these settings down here and just moving it around to see what looks great and what doesn't. So we're getting closer, you can see, as I'm moving along the similarity here. But if I go too far, it'll start to get rid of the blue box, which I don't want to do. So I want somewhere in the middle, right before it starts going away. Smoothest we can mess around with and see what looks good and what doesn't. Opacity will make it more see-through or less see-through. I still want to keep it pretty solid. Contrast, we can take a look. That's going to change the color a little bit. That's getting better. That gets rid of the blue a little bit. Brightness, we can take a look at. I kind of like that. Gamma. All right, that'll be good enough. There are better ways of doing this to make it transparent, but you can do it in OBS itself. You just hit close when you're done, and you can see up here that it's see-through. You can see me through the logo. So I'm going to put that up in the corner, and I can double-click and make that live on the screen. Now, what we want to do is maybe in the bottom corner. I'm going to do it in the bottom right corner. We want to make something which says the page numbers for the prayer that we're currently on. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to Google Slides, which is a great tool, interestingly, for using this. You wouldn't expect it. So what we want eventually is something which will look kind of like this, but on the other side of the page. What you'll get when you start off are a couple of these text boxes. You can just get rid of them. So now you have a blank canvas. Now the first thing you want to do is you can go to background, and you can actually make it transparent in here. So color, you go to transparent, and then you don't have to do anything once you get into OBS itself. Now you can see here all I have are two different shapes basically that are built in with text box over them. So this is the text box, here's the shape, text box. What I actually want to do is just have the two shapes, because I want to be able to use this these colors and this pattern for different services. If I build them all in here, then I can't actually change the words in OBS. So if I want to use the same graphic for Shabbat, then I would have to go back into here and create an all-new graphic as opposed to just being able to do it in OBS. So we're going to come in here. We're going to insert a shape. Let's see what we have. I want to use, let's say, flowchart data. Why not? We'll see if that works. So I kind of like that. We want to put it off the screen. Basically, whatever is on the screen itself, on the white, will show in the final graphic. Whatever is off of it will go away. So I just want kind of this part and over. So we have one of them. I'm going to copy and paste, and we're going to make two of them. That'll be kind of slightly over it. I'm just going to put it up here for now. What I want to do is I want to have this one a little bit bigger, because I think it looks better than the one below it, which will be slightly offset and just sitting on top. That's not quite enough room. So I'm going to make this a little bit longer. I'm going to make this even longer. I'm going to make sure that the back half is off the screen. All right, let's see how that works. Just as a test, I'm going to take this out in a minute. We're going to put a text box over the top of it. And I have a huge text box here, as you can see. So let's say weekday Sim Shalom. That's all I want. We're going to resize it. So it just takes up the room we want. And okay, so we can see that it kind of goes off the end, so we don't have quite enough room. We're going to have to make the other one longer. So we do that. We'll make this one even longer. Okay, so basically we have this graphic, and we are good to go. I'm going to get rid of our text there, and we'll make the text again when we get into OBS. So all I need to do now, let's say I want a different color for this. I can go up to here. I can tune it to something which is close to my logo, which is not a great fit here, but maybe we'll say this one. And then we'll make this one white. And we've got it. Now that we've finished with our two boxes, one with the blue and one with the white, all we need to do is come over to here to File and Download. And we'll download it as a PNG image so that it retains the background, which is transparent. You can see that it's coming up down here. And we'll come back into OBS. We'll add a source, which is an image. We will call it, let's say, Ashray 3. And we will go and find that picture now. And it should come in. Well, so now you can see that the rest of it remains black, which means it's see-through, and we just have those two colors here. Now, the text box, the box which goes around it is huge. So let's do Alt, and we'll crop it just to where we need it around here. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's see-through. And we'll come in, it'll lock in to the right side if we want, and then we can just make it a little bit bigger. So we can put as much text as we want in there. Maybe we'll put it down a little bit. Now, why do I have it on the right side of the screen? I've tried it on the left side of the screen, but sometimes when our boxes are really small in Zoom, the nameplate actually ends up covering up part of your text. So I'm putting it on the right side because the nameplate is usually on the left side. Now we need some text in here. We said we're going to have the Ashray. So I am going to come in here into text. I'm going to add, let's see here, weekday Sim Shalom, because that one's going to stay all the time. We can mess with the font later. You can come in here, font, size. You can touch all of that. You could even write in Hebrew if you want to put text itself in there. We're just going to say weekday Sim Shalom. Here you can choose color, you can choose background, you can do all of those things. I don't want any of that. I just want the text. We can see here, though, that it's huge, so we're going to make it much, much smaller and continue to make it smaller until it fits. Means I want to make my box a little bit bigger here so that it fits it. All right. And this might look better too if we did it the way I had it at a different time. Here, if I actually did it inside of Google Slides, you can see it looks a little bit nicer there. You can do it whichever way works for you. I do want to make that black, so I'm just going to right-click on it, go back to Properties, and we'll come down to Color and make it black. Okay. Now we'll come down to Sources. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to right-click on it, and I want to copy it, and then right-click again and paste a duplicate. A reference will do the exact same thing. A duplicate is a similar thing, which means I can edit it and it won't change the original. So, Sim Shalom 2. I'm going to rename that in a minute, but I'll put Ashray page 120. Yeah, maybe with a capital. And I think that'll look nice. We can bring it down here. We can make it bigger so people can see it in Zoom. And we've got some things we could double click and see how it shows up here if it was live. I don't quite like it, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Moving all the things. So you see I'm moving things I don't want to move. So I can come down here and I can actually lock them. So I'm going to lock my video and the box goes away. I'm going to lock the logo because I don't need that moving, and lock. All right, now we're going to move it slightly, and I'm going to lock that box, and then I'll just move this to where I want it. Click, move. All right, and then we'll lock down that one. We're going to rename this. We'll rename it Ashray Page. And actually, I'm going to rename this. Rename it Page Image. So what I'll do now, we've got Ashray. I'll show you how to do one more, which is we're going to duplicate this. We're going to call it Kaddish Yatom. And all right, so you've got it here. You can see right now it has the same text. I don't want that, so what I'm going to go down here, everything else can stay the same, other than I want the Ashray to be done. So what I don't want to do, if I go in and just change this, what it's going to do is it's going to change Ashray on the other source as well. So what I need to do is I need to copy it. I need to paste a duplicate, and I can remove with this minus sign the first one. And that'll just remove it from this scene, from the source list on this scene, and it'll still be there on the other page, you can see. We are going to put in Kaddish Yatom. I'm going to get rid of the page because what I'm going to do is show you how to put it in a screenshot with a side-by-side. So Kaddish Yatom, we can rename this if we want. Kaddish Yatom, already in use. Right, it's already in use because I've got it over here in scenes. So I'm going to have to rename it Kaddish Yatom Page, even though there's no page there. So what I can do now is I can take the video and we can try, what I want to do actually is, let me just see something. If I move it like that, good. So we'll move it back. What I can do is I can hit Alt again, and I'm going to crop in on my face a little bit on one side. I'm going to crop in on my face on the other side. And now I can just move it over to the right side of the screen. And what I want to do, I can also move my name over here if we want. Or I can move it to the middle. We're going to put something there in a minute. What I can do is I can come down here and add another image. I've already taken a screenshot. Yatom screenshot of the Sidur, which has it. And we're just going to add it in. And you can see it over here. We'll resize it. Make it a little bigger so it fills up that whole space. And let's see, we want to push this back a little bit because it's covering up some of our logos and stuff. So you can see here in sources, the top, whatever comes up on top on the screen is at the top, and anything else comes up below it. So I'm going to move this down a couple of spaces. Now you can see our box came in on top of it now, and now the logo is on top of it. It doesn't look great because it's covering up words. So I'm just going to move it over here in front of me. You can see with my hair it doesn't work great, but you'll get the idea. We can even take it out for this moment if we wanted to. So we now have our different scenes. We can add whatever other prayers we want. So as you can see here right now, this is live, which I might start my service with. When we get to the beginning of the service, I can come down here and hit Ashray. If I double click and then Kaddish Yatom, I can see it on this side. And when I'm ready, I can just double click. I can hit enter. I can hit whatever transition I want to move it to the screen. And this is whatever people are going to see. So how do we actually make this happen? Over here, you can also stream directly to Facebook or YouTube or whatever you'd like. You can record things on your own. That's what I'm using to record this tutorial right now. But what we're going to do is we want basically to make this a source in Zoom so that we can have what's coming through in OBS actually show up within for our camera. So I'm going to come over here. There's a download that you need in order to make this work. So in the OBS site, there's a OBS virtual cam, which you're going to need. The URL is up here. I'll link to it in the description. You come down here. Basically, it couldn't be simpler to use. Once you've installed it, all you need to do is go to Tools in your OBS and select Virtual Cam. You press the Start button and close it, and then open up Zoom and select it from the list. So what you want to do is you want to come down here, click GitHub Release. You can get a zip file for it. It'll take you to this page on GitHub, and you can just run through the installer.exe. It'll help you set it up. There's an option for 1 camera or 4 cameras. I did the 4 cameras. It's not necessary. I only use the 1, so you probably can get away with just doing the 1 camera. And basically how that looks once you've gone through the process is you come up here to Tools and click on Virtual Cam. You have these options here. Right now you can see you can decide which of the 4 cameras, as I was saying, you want to send it to. This is the first one. And then you just hit Start. And then what you can do is you can open up a Zoom chat. So I'm going to come over here and start Zoom. And we'll pick a new meeting. It'll open up in a second. You can join with computer audio. You can use your audio like you normally do. And you can see here that nothing is coming up. That's because my camera is already on. In order for this to work in Zoom, you have to have OBS open and your camera on. You can come down here to your cameras, and all of a sudden you'll see that there are other cameras available to us. We want to select OBS camera. And as you'll see, we're going to have everything come up. Now, because I'm the only one in the group, my screen is huge. But what I can do is we can resize it a little bit. It's not going to work terrifically without other people on. We can move over here. So you can see generally that basically actually what I'll do is I'll make this. So first you can close this. You don't need it open. We'll put this. Let's see here. We can make it small on the side of the screen so that we can see both happening at once. And Zoom is here. Can make it a little bit bigger, and hopefully we can start to see. Okay, so you can see my logo up in the corner. And let's see, I can come over here. I can double click here. The Ashray shows up in the bottom of the page. Kadisha Tom shows up, and we can make it work that way. Now I want to show you one more trick. I'm going to close out Zoom. Actually, we'll keep Zoom open for the moment. If you come down here into Settings, and what you can do is you can add hotkeys, which are basically shortcuts. You come down here, and you can see each of your scenes. You can see each of your scenes in this list. So what I can do is I can number them, which will automatically switch to that scene. So the first scene is logo and me, so I'm going to make it a 1. I just type in 1. Asheray is 2. I'm going to hit 2. Kadisha Tom is 3. I'll apply it and hit OK. And basically, even if I'm in the Zoom call, I can just hit 1, and you can see it switching on the side, even if I'm not actively in that screen. Now I need to turn on one more feature. I go back to Settings. And let's see, transition to scene when double clicked. We want that one clicked because that means I can just double click on it and it will make it live right away. The other thing we can do is, let's see, we go back to hotkeys and transition here. So the transition is to make it live with the transition. And basically what I did was I hit the enter button. And what it means is that when I hit the enter button, it actually switches. It will switch to whatever I have active in the preview. So I'm now active in the Zoom chat. I'm not clicked into OBS. I hit 1 and hit enter, and now I'm back to the logo and me. 2, enter. I come to Ashray. 3 and enter. I come to here. I don't know why the camera is showing up every time. It shouldn't be doing that. I wasn't doing it earlier. And basically now you have a fully functioning Zoom broadcast with logos and other fun things you can play around with. Just make sure you have OBS open before you come in to Zoom, or else it won't work. Thanks all, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.